stand as one, walk with thousands.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dad Bods and Beards. Today is a cool one. It is our first repeat guest. You guys have seen him on here before, Brock Painter. He's the guy that's kicking our butt. We'll get to
weekly.
Yeah, we'll get into introducing you again, but you guys have heard us talk about Brock up and down the street 100 times on this podcast and Neuromastery. But I was telling you about this earlier. We've got this new little mini sponsor.
Wait, do the Trump thing.
We got a new little mini sponsor who's going to sponsor today's episode. I've been talking to them for a little bit.
Okay.
So they sent me what they wanted me to read. So today's episode is sponsored by Man Mane, because real confidence isn't grown, it's applied. Let's be honest, some guys can't grow a full beard, whether it's patchy genetics, poor decisions in college, or just nature being a jerk. The struggle is real, but with Man Mane, the solution is easy. Man Mane's premium beard toupees are handcrafted from ethically sourced alpaca fibers and attached using cutting-edge nano grip tech. Translation, it sticks to your face like destiny. Choose from iconic styles like Mountain Sage, Whiskey Philosopher, or the ultra bold Viking Warlord. Whether you're prepping for a date, a job interview, or a lumberjack-themed wedding, Man Mane helps you grow the confidence your DNA forgot to. Head to manmanebeards.com, use promo code DADBODS, and get 25% off your new look today.
Shut up.
Sounds like something I'd need.
Yeah, that's really. Do you have pictures? I want to see pictures, what they look like. What?
Do you know what the date is?
No.
It's April 1st.
I hate you.
Don't punch me. No, beard toupees are not a thing. I just wanted to get
I thought that was weird.
I know. I'm over here thinking, I'm like, I need a beard
Me
toupee.
too. I've never heard of Man
I
Mane.
just thought, ChatGPT came up with it. But I just love that when I said that handcrafted, ethically sourced alpaca blend, I see your head go, what? No, today's episode is sponsored by a fictitious beard toupee company. It is sponsored by Mountain Ops, as always. And one of our introductions to Mountain Ops came from...
I feel bad I hit you. I'm
no,
sorry. Baby, I'm sorry.
But Brock, you actually were one of the guys that introduced us to Mountain Ops, to Trevor, and to really Sean, and Sean got us to Aaron, and so you're kind of like the facilitator of a lot of good things that have happened with Dad Bods in the last year, dude. So
And overall, 120, 130 pounds lost between both of us.
yeah, 70 for you, 60 for me.
I'm a little over 70 now.
Yeah, but yeah, as always, you guys know we love and swear by Mountain Ops. So everything from the hydrate to the different supplements to the sleep gummies and everything in between. So go to mountainops.com, use code DADBODS to get 20% off your order, and then every order goes to fulfilling the need for families that are struggling to get food. So
I've been drinking the mango branched chain amino acids. Have you ever had the peach mango?
The hydrate?
Yeah, no, the branched chain amino acids. Have you ever had the peach rings, the candy?
oh yeah,
Dude, it tastes just like it.
really,
It's like so
dude.
good.
I was going through my
With a little bit of what's it called that helps the pool the
I don't know, you're
the
talking-
stool softener.
Oh.
The Miralax. So I put a little Miralax in there. And Brock has me eating a lot of protein.
Hey, it's not a podcast with Tyson without the poop jokes.
But no, like we
Just saying it
it's
works
funny.
wonders.
You could tell how committed that we've gotten with this, that like even though we're pretty fleeting with some things in the past, that like my wife literally like cleared out a spot in the pantry for all my Mountain Ops stuff.
Oh, yeah.
A couple months ago. And as I was like moving it from like the back where it was all kind of tucked to like, I've got a front and center spot in the pantry for all my Mountain Ops stuff now. I found a whole big thing of Huckleberry Lemonade Enduro.
Shut up.
That stuff's gold.
It
Dude,
is.
it is my absolute favorite, and it's getting lower and lower and lower. I drink it every day, and I have to keep going back to like the Tiger's Blood and some of like the staple flavors because I'm like,
You need to try
when the
Rocky Mountain
Huckleberry's
Ricky.
gone, it's gone.
I know.
But okay, here's the thing: don't do the Huckleberry Lemonade Enduro and then mix it because like I had a little bit left, and then I was gonna go hit a run, so I mixed in the Pink Lemonade Yeti mode. I'm like, oh, those flavors will blend good together. Don't do Enduro and Yeti mode in the same drink. I'm pretty sure I could see sound. I ran really good that day, but it was like my blood oxygen level was like 112.
Well, around a lot of high school kids too.
Yeah. But no, dude, so we wanted to bring you on. We got a couple questions we're going to get to, but like we had you on, geez, I don't know, was it like June, July, something like that?
Like episode 40-ish.
Yeah.
So, and we
What-
weren't
I
even,
don't even know what
we
episode
were
we're
just
on.
chatting with you as like a buddy. And then we'd been to, you went to the Connect and Conquer. And then I went to an Ash and Ice event with you and all that stuff. And then we got you on the podcast and we talked about what you're doing and your whole upbringing. And then it was like a week or two after that, we both jumped into Neuromastery. So before we get into your questions, can you give us like a breakdown of just another quick intro of like, for anybody who's new to the show, which we've had quite a few, who are you? What do you do? What is Neuromastery? And why are you like crazy when it comes to running 100 miles in Hawaii?
Yeah, good question. So I'm Brock, and what Neuromastery is a mind and body performance company. And basically what I do is I'm marrying the worlds of wellness and fitness into one. Because I believe that the fitness industry and the wellness industry in general has been broken up like a broken mirror. Everyone's taking one piece and they believe that that's the thing that's going to solve your puzzle. And the thing is it's wrong, right? Like fitness is super important, but also is your emotional, your mental, your physical, and your spiritual. And so we try to make sure we hit on each one of those pillars to where you can find that deeper level of yourself that you didn't find, which is really peace. And what peace is when what you do, what you think, and what you say are all the same. And so that's what Neuromastery is. Basically, in short, is I try to give you what you cannot buy, which is peace, which is a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy heart.
I like that, dude.
One thing that I've taken, like I take everything that we talk about, very seriously. But the one that I really, really like that's really changed a lot of my outlook in life is learn to love your emotions and where they come from, because they're all there to protect us. And now that I say that, it's just like, it just makes so much sense. Like last week when we were meeting together, I thought I was fine. And I told Logan's like, "What are you guys going to talk about?" I'm like, "I don't know. I think I'm good."
Nope.
And then he asked, I answer a question for you. He's like, "Okay, let's talk about this. I'm concerned that you said this." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I just start crying. I'm just joking. But
you're not joking.
But then, no, I didn't. I don't cry.
Except in massive networking groups.
It's true. Like every time we have a networking group and they ask me to share my feelings, I start crying. Okay, back to the point. He had me meditate, and which is really weird over the phone. I had to turn off the camera so he didn't stare at me. But he had me go and understand why I'm feeling this anxiety and all this kind of stuff, and it was all to protect me and because it loves me. And I just am like, I never thought of depression and anxiety or anything like that you always connotate as a negative emotion, as a positive, and how it's trying to help me and how it's there to protect me. That has changed so much in my life because of you, and you were able to help me understand that.
Well, I appreciate that. And honestly, one thing that I would like to emphasize just listening to you right now is there wasn't anything wrong.
Yeah.
Just because that we're going in and figuring out something that is misaligned doesn't mean that there's an issue. Honestly, you came in great, you left great. Mm-hmm. But the thing is your body was trying to talk to you. When we have certain emotions, whether that be anxiety, depression, sadness, happiness, excitement, they're signals. They're not the meat and the potatoes, the problem to be dealt with. They're just something to be heard. And once you hear and listen to them, then all of a sudden you can then make a choice on what to do with it. And that's all we're walking through, is being able to gain the awareness with our emotions and a relationship, sincerely, to where we understand that, okay, maybe you were feeling a bit of anxiety that you weren't necessarily recognizing. And then what is that anxiety trying to tell you? Because that's going to help then create a whole future that you can then make a choice rather than just reacting. Because the thing is like with emotions is that typically they come up like a slow cooked frog. You don't notice them until they're so strong that they're impossible not to notice. And that's where if you can gain that awareness early on in that relationship, you know how they talk to you and you know if they have your best interest or if they don't. Because your body does not care about what's best for you. It cares about what's familiar and what's safe, which often is just this default mode of reactivity to your environment, and it doesn't necessarily optimize for your life.
Can I ask a weird question?
Hold on. Before you do that, this is something I want to highlight really quick.
Wow.
There's 1,000,001 freaking programs out there. Half of them are here in Utah, right? And then you throw on the social media thing, and there's a bunch of people who have coaching. And I'm not slamming anybody. I've been a part of a couple. I'm sure you've done one or two.
Oh, yeah.
And there's always like, pay this amount, get this, and grab hold of your life. Like, your stuff, like when you're talking, it's like there's so much like fact-based information that comes back, and it's not just like this empty motivation of
And this isn't like a paid thing for
of
us.
like something that like like we're not paying.
No, what I mean though is
we
this
pay Brock.
is, we generally, we just love Brock.
But like,
what
but my
he's done
point
for
being
us.
is that like this is something that like we did 75 hard. We both knuckled down and busted our butts on that, but we both gained a bunch of weight back because it wasn't realistic. And one thing I want to go back to our first episode with you that you said that stuck super hard with us was the best way to heal a sick dog is put them in a healthy pack. Like I've said that analogy so many different times. And I feel like with Neuromastery, we've found like our pack, and we've found other people along the way to like be able to identify like new pack members, right? And I feel like it's when you're talking about something, I know, right? Super culty. But like when you're talking about something and you're talking about all this different stuff, like it's not, like I said, it's not just this rehearsed, like toxic motivational thing. It's like, there's like the science behind it. And you're backing things up with like, not just like references and, you know, different books and articles and things like that. Like you can 100% tell that this is like a true passion of yours and not just like some program you started because you were an influencer and you found a way to make an extra couple $1,000s a month. Like this is you and Cam, like we need to get Cam on here too. Like not just the whole group of guys and the girls and stuff that are in Neuromastery. It's like, you can tell that this is like your guys' baby and you love seeing the growth in guys. Like, on Saturday, we went and hit my first ever 10 miler, and like 6 of you guys showed up to run it with me, and you ran probably way slower than you all could have. Mind you, half of them ran a 50K.
But mind you, also, I would have been there, but it was too fast for me.
Sure.
Jerk face.
Sure.
I would have been there.
But no, that's what I'm saying though, is it was like, it's literally a group of people headed up by two guys that just want to see everybody win. And it's real life scenarios, and it's real life information that you can apply to actually make positive changes. And everything is so freaking tailored fit. Yeah. Like my program is different from Tyson's, which is different from Tanner's, which is different from Denver's, and so but then we all kind of come together, and I probably overshare on the group, dude. I'm always like, going up for my run, guys.
No, we love it.
So that's just quick kudos to you before you ask that question, was just like, I feel like of the different programs I've done over the years, like this is one where it's not like I'm looking for some end of like, oh, the program's over. That was this cool, fun time. Like, it's like, no, like I don't.
No.
Yeah. I was like, hey, as soon as the marathon prep is over, I want you to get me like shredded. Like I want to get the muscle back.
What is it that we're going to be doing?
High rocks.
High rocks. I still have a hard time saying. I don't know why I can't remember that.
Dropping it on the pod. That's some commitment.
Well, I mean, that's what we did with the freaking marathon. So apparently there's this thing called High Rocks, which is
And
like,
we're going to all get an Airbnb with our families, and then afterwards go to Disney.
you make a bunch of claims.
Also in June.
We're also going skydiving, apparently.
We are, dude. We're going skydiving. Brock's even coming.
I am.
But yeah, we're gonna do that in December or something like that, I guess. High Rocks. We just
Oh yeah, I was like, Moab's
to it.
June. I will weigh under 250 by June.
No, I appreciate you saying that, because honestly, that's where my passion is. You asked the question of why I do the 100 milers and things like that. And a lot of it is because for me, growing up, like I was never the guy. I'm not necessarily an athletic person, right? Like I was fourth string in football. I never was the first one picked on a team ever.
Yeah.
And I was just always the one who tried really hard. And part of what that turned into as I grew older was I went to psychology, and a lot of it was that raw, like, I mean, psychology is like understand, feel, but it never moved anywhere. It was like as if I was in reverse, and then rumination just set in because all they did was talk about your problems forever.
Well, that's why I eventually just got done, because it was like, I'm done talking about that. Like, it's time to move.
Yes. And I'm not knocking on therapy. I think it has its place. It is very necessary.
Does.
But that was just what I found. And so where I really became passionate was, I do not believe that growth is attitude based. I don't believe it's based on motivation, and I don't believe it's based on a certain emotional trait or a certain characteristic that people have and has some God-given ability. What I believe is it's systematic. Mm-hmm. And I'm out there to prove that, because I believe that I can biologically change your mind and body to work for you through alignment. And so I've used myself as a test dummy in many different aspects where there's challenges that I didn't ever think were possible. And systematically, I've been able to change my belief systems, my identities, and my outcomes consistently. And then I've been able to take that and put it in a plug and play form for you guys, to where yes, it's customized, but also there are certain laws and principles that guide what we're doing. So that way, when we get together, there are 6 guys that would jump in an instant and can run 10 miles whenever they want to.
Yeah.
Because the ultimate outcome that you want and I think everybody does, is ultimate freedom. Like, I want you guys to be able to run when you want to run. If someone comes in and steals your wife's purse, that you can chase them down and get them. But you cannot have what you have not trained. That applies to emotional stability, right? As a father, people think that all of a sudden when they have a kid, that if they yell and scream before, that they're not going to do that as their kids grow up. Nothing frustrates you more than a child. But if you have not trained it, then you will not have it there. So I believe in systematically training those muscles, and then also having the community, a place where you can come and be safe to people that you may not know or that you do know, but you know they're a safe place to where you can open up, have that strength and stability, know they're out there doing the same thing. So when you go out there and risk what you're doing and put yourself on the line, that you have a safe place to come back to no matter what happens. And that creates the ultimate availability to experience life to the fullest. Because so often when we struggle with anxiety, or when we struggle with depression, or we even struggle just health-wise, we limit our opportunities. Immediately we cut off anything that's like opportunities just because we don't believe that they're available to us. And we think we're not that guy, or it's just not possible, when it is. And so, it's really cool to hear those stories, because think about it. Like, you just ran out and ran 10 miles just because you wanted to.
Yeah.
And you probably could do it tomorrow. And that now has created an availability in your life that wasn't there before. And that creates emotional stability when you go home with your family and your friends and everyone around you.
Do you guys see why we believe him when he says we can run a marathon and a half marathon? Like, dude, I love that. Like, it's just, it's insanely motivating. And then it's stacked with evidence. I mean, that's your whole thing, stacking evidence, right? So
Yeah, October. We're running a marathon.
no, what are you talking about?
I am.
Oh, you are.
I'm
I was like, bro, we're
No,
June.
but you're gonna be running a marathon.
Oh yeah, dude, that'll be number
We've already
2.
talked about
Maybe
it.
Like, that'll be
We
like,
talked about
that'll
it
be
like 3 seconds ago.
That'll be like number 3 or 4 for me by that point.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
And then High Rocks.
Okay, now.
Then we're doing Everest.
Oh man.
All right. So I kind of have some 4 questions, and they're a little personal, just because I wrote them down because I don't want to forget them. First one is, you know me, you know Logan, you know kind of like my insecurities, all those type of things. So why is it so hard for me to believe I'm enough when people around me say I am? Because my wife gets mad at me. It's like almost I need validation outside. And we talked a little bit about this last time, and I feel like I'm getting better. But for those, because there's a lot of people like this who don't believe they're good enough, even though everyone else can see that they are. And I'm like that way with my business. I'm like that way with dad bods. I'm like that just with everything. And it's not a jealousy thing. It's not even an insecurity thing. It's just more of like a belief that I'm not good enough almost. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm riding the coattails of other people because I put the team together. I put it together, but it's the team that's helping and doing everything. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of the question I have, the first one.
Yeah. And I think that's a very common one, of feeling like you're enough, and I don't have all the answers, but a lot of times when it comes
Get out.
I think a lot of times when it comes to feeling like you're enough, the biggest thing that you want to become aware of is being aware of what makes you feel like you're not enough, and setting a baseline there. And also setting a baseline on what is enough. So to you, Tyson, what is enough? What would feel like enough for you?
I don't know. Like when we were doing our breath work, the first time was it August? And
Yeah, the Connect and Conquer.
Yeah, the one that you were in Lake Tahoe pooping, and he was so sick.
I couldn't make it out of the water in time.
He pooped in Lake Tahoe.
I pooped in Lake Tahoe.
No, but I had one of those experiences, and I haven't had one since doing the breath work. But it was like it was just my family, and I think knowing my family's healthy, they're strong, they're productive, they're doing the things that they need to, and they're living their values. That was enough for me. But on professional side, I don't know. I don't know what's enough. All I know is sometimes I I don't feel enough.
Yeah. And that's the hard part, is because there's often a disconnect. Okay. We have our conscious and logical brain that tries to make sense of an emotional world. Your conscious brain, like, you can't give logic to an illogical world. You feel like you're not enough, but everything you're doing is enough. Right? So logically, you try to convince your body, but your body knows if it's a lie or it's not. And that's where the problem lies, is because emotionally, it's this unorganized world that doesn't make sense, that doesn't necessarily have rhyme to the reason, it just feels. So what often happens is we try to give logic to it, and we seek outside answers to give it to us. So we become like a black hole. Because I remember when I was a kid, I grew up with 4 older brothers. I wanted nothing more than to keep up with them. And believe me, I would have done anything. Like, I remember there was one time I show up to my first day of 7th grade, new middle school. I didn't know anybody. And I go there and I was so excited to meet people, but I didn't really meet any friends. And it was the end of the day. And I saw some 9th graders that I had known from football. And obviously I didn't know them well. And I'm over there just happy-go-lucky Brock, like, hey, guys. And they ended up picking me up, throwing me in the trash can.
Oh.
Teacher runs over, tries to stop them from doing it. I jump out of the trash can and I immediately defended them, even after what had just happened, because I wanted their validation and appreciation more so than I cared about them getting in trouble. And I did that my whole life. And that applied to a lot of what I had done in my throughout my entire life, that it even came into my professional career. And what would happen is people would tell me they loved me, but I didn't know how to love myself. And so I became a black hole because I just wanted more and more validation, more people telling me what I was enough, that more people telling me that I was good. And I just became a taker. And that hurt me, and it hurt the people around me because they could give me what I wanted, but I wasn't able to receive it.
Oof.
And so part of the lesson that I had to learn is the difference between self-improvement and self-healing. Self-improvement, this is your goals. This is the ideal. This is how you're looking at other people doing things in life and saying, I would like that too, right? Where we start to compare ourselves because we would like to grow. But the thing is this is where we say, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to fix, right? The part where you're feeling not enough. Then on the other hand, you have self-healing. Okay, now this is your shadow work. This is your emotions. This is the unorganized world. And this is what you got to remember is the tallest buildings cast the biggest shadows. Okay? And if you're unwilling to go to those shadows, you'll never really truly understand what love is. Okay? And so where I had to go in is the self-improvement says, this is what I need to fix. Self-healing says there was nothing I ever needed to fix in the first place. I am whole as I am. And so I had to go to those deep, dark places willingly and often to get to know them, to understand them, and to love them as they are. Like the part of you that you're rejecting, that you're hoping you can get from someone else, that insecurity. I know you said it wasn't an insecurity, but probably is. You got to go to that part of yourself, pull it up, get to know it, understand it, and learn to love it. And when I'm using the word love, it's not this frilly, it's not this exciting. It's like loving a kid. Kids take and take and take, and they're all over the place, but you would do anything for them and die for them at any given point in time. That's how we have to be with those different parts of ourselves, even the dark and scary ones that we don't like.
And then how do you find that insecurity? Because you're right, it is probably an insecurity. The more we talk about it, so how do you find where that came from?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's where we started. So remember, your emotions are signals. So when you're seeking that validation and it makes you feel anxious, that's the signal telling you that something is misaligned. That's where you can then go in and say, well, instead of saying, oh, I'm not insecure, I'm not anxious, saying, no, I am anxious. What's the problem? And I can actually walk you guys through a formula that anyone can use on this podcast.
Let's do it.
Okay, the first question is, what's the problem? Okay.
We should write this, not right now, but like put it in the notes.
Yeah. You can put this in the notes, but anyone can use this. So the first question is, what's the problem? Okay. Second question is, how's that a problem? Not why. Okay. And I want to make that clear. Don't use the word why, because that's where your justifications are. That's where your reasons of all the reasons it's not going to work out or you're not good enough are, and the reason why you're seeking validation in the first place. How? How's that a problem? And you're going to ask that about 5 times, peeling back the layers till you get to the bottom of it. Okay? Then the third question is, when did I decide to make this a problem? And if it's something recent, you're probably wrong. You want to go back to where it's probably something from when you were very young. Like, what's the earliest you can remember feeling this way? Getting to that point. Then fourth, this is one of the most important questions, is what lesson can I take from this? So what lesson can I learn? This is where your brain starts to change. Okay? And then the fifth question is, what can I do different from here on out? So when you do that resolution formula, the beauty of it, okay, is if you do that consistently.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
I do it 50 times a day.
Just with every emotion?
Because you're listening and you're understanding and you're just trying to grow. And one thing that I want to make clear, Tyson, and to everyone listening, is it's not like you're trying to get to some destination. You got to get that out of your head.
I really was thinking it was a destination. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
There's no destination to this journey.
I was like, there's a start. And then right when I'm there, everything should be fine. Dead serious.
Yes, there's not. Okay? Your emotions know no time. They know, they only understand experience, and they only understand seeing, hearing, understanding. Like, how often when you're in an argument with another person, they're like, you're not understanding me. Like, why do you feel like someone feels the need to yell in an argument when you're right there? It's because they don't feel heard. So they have to yell louder. That's what's going on, is your emotions, all they want to feel is seen and heard, and then you can make a choice of whatever you want. And so that's where you're trying to get to that point. And then what happens is you create one infinite round where you can start to say to yourself, and I say this to myself all the time, I'm the problem, but I'm also the solution.
Yeah.
And that's where you have the power.
That's why Logan and I always whisper with each other, because we hear each other perfectly.
No, I like that a lot, because that's one thing that you and I talk about a lot is that, I mean, we obviously have these endeavors, right? We've got Copper Johns, we've got Dad Bods and Beards, and then we've got, the social media stuff and all these other ideas that we have coming up. And I think that sometimes we'll set these expectations of like when we can feel comfortable that, oh, we're making it, now we can feel comfortable, or, oh, things are like, but then you and I will have this conversation every now and then of kind of like, at what point is it going to be like, okay, well, now this is enough. Now I can feel comfortable. But it's like looking at where we were even a year ago with the podcast, and be like, there's a lot of people that, like there was times where we almost gave up on this, or even times you almost gave up on Copper Johns. And I think it's because you kind of set that expectation of where is it going, or like, when am I going to get there, versus like, it's a whole timeless journey. You're just continuing on. So I like that whole.
And that allows us to be grateful and content with what's going on at the same time, even though we're still growing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, a lot of it comes down to your measuring stick as well. Like, how are you measuring success? Because
I think I've been doing it financially. That's how I
100% you think I know.
Yeah, just because it's just like with 6 kids and one that's tons of medical bills. I think it puts a lot of stress on my life.
So that's one thing that I would look at, though, because you're saying financially and you're feeling your own stress. But I know millionaires who are very stressed about their finances as well. So what's the measuring stick? Because here's what happens. Okay, imagine for those of you listening, imagine you have the ideal, which is like perfect scenario where everything goes right. Okay, then you have what you've actually done. So the money you've actually made. Let's use that just for an example, but this could be anything. What you're measuring is from what was done and what was the ideal, and everywhere that you didn't add up. That's what we call the gap. Okay, because you're only measuring everything that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so of course you're not feeling like enough, because your measuring stick is always measuring where you didn't add up, which creates insecurities, which creates anxiety and stress and deteriorates your body. So this is how I like to look at it, and this may be helpful for some listeners.
100% it will.
So you set the ideal. Obviously, you got to know what it is you want and design that and get clear about it. That I'm not discounting. But when it comes time to measure, I only measure what's done. I only measure what I've done and what's been accomplished. Because when I'm running a race, like when you're running a 100-mile race and let's say I'm 20 miles in, it's like, oh, I have 80 miles to go. It was actually funny. When I was on the Hurt 100, there was this group of teenagers and girls, and I'm sitting there just dying, right? And they go, how much further do you have? And I go, 70 miles. And they rolled on their backs laughing. And I was just about to die. And, if you think of it that way, it's really tough. But if I tell myself, I've already ran 30 miles.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I have more motivation, and I just say, I just keep going. I'll go as far as I can. And so when I track, I only track what's been done. I don't track what I haven't done. I know the ideal and I know what I want, right? Where you're defining it, like I said to you, like what is enough. And then once I know that number, I only track what I've completed.
Which is funny that you're saying that because it's like, it's really easy to say super motivational stuff, right? But like, you literally did that to me on Saturday when we were running. Cause like I don't think I prepped well enough, even as much as I was prepping. Like 10 miles was a totally different beast than anything. I mean, even it was different from the 9-miler I did, right? Cause when we got to the 5-mile turnaround, you guys were all running with me being like, Logan, what's your best 5-mile? And I'm like, oh, it was this. And you guys all basically were like, dude, if you huff it, you're going to hit a 5-mile PR, mid 10-mile PR. So then I pick up the pace, and then obviously like Apple Watch isn't reading with Strava, right? Whatever. And I end up gassing it just to make sure my Apple Watch hits it. And
he hit it, by the way.
I got my 5-mile PR, mid 10-mile PR, which is fun. But then on my way back, like my hamstring started cramping up, my knee kind of like, I'm listening to my brain telling me what's hurting. And I'm not looking at the fact that I'm like, one, I already hit a PR, but you're starting to remind me, you're like, dude, you already PR'd once today. Like you're measuring the stuff I already had completed while I'm still trying to complete more things. And so you're like, and then you're like coaching me through other things that I was like, I'd already done. You're like, dude, you're already out here running this. You're going to complete it. So it's like the fact that you're saying use the measuring stick based off the things you've already done. And you were actively doing that to me to distract me from the fact that like,
it's not distraction, it's reality.
Yeah, that's you were grounding me back in reality of like I was like wanting to throw up. I feel like my blood pressure was super low and all these things, and it wasn't like you were like pushing me like
you should teach me how to run, but you'd be walking as I run.
Well, that's the thing too of like, and then like giving me the little wins along the way that I needed of kind of like being like, dude, like look at you, like you're a runner now. You're out here like Logan X amount of months ago, like
dude, you're 100% a runner.
Well, I enjoy it. I kind of classify myself that as that now. So I'm just saying the fact that you say that, but then you also actively are using that like practice as you're coaching guys and yourself is, application over just motivation, right? So I love that a lot.
Yeah.
But
I have one more question. Well, I have lots of questions, but we only have time for one more. We actually have gotten this a couple of times, and I feel like I know who I am, but anyway, how can I rebuild a sense of identity when I don't even know who I am anymore?
That's a deep question. That's a deep one, dude.
So my answer may not be what you're thinking. It doesn't matter. We sit there and we think that inside of us is something to be found, that we're supposed to chip away at it and pull it out until it's something that we just are. I don't believe that.
Well, here, let me rephrase. You told me in one of our sessions, and this is personal, like not personal. Logan pooped his pants. No, but you told me once that there's only one Tyson, and you have a unique abilities that no one else has, and you bring something to the world that no one has, and I can't still figure it out. And I'm not trying to be humble or anything, and so it's just like I've really put a lot of thought into it. And I'm like, I don't feel special, and that's not a negative thing. I just don't feel like I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of empathy towards people, but at the same time, it's just like, how do you figure that crap out?
Yeah, no, I love that question, because a lot of times we think that we're limited to what we can fathom inside of us. Mm-hmm. We're not limited. There are no limitations. What do you want? Who do you want to be? And that's where we can take on the role of a divine creator, rather than this life of default where we're just thrust into this person that we're just supposed to figure out who we are. Life is not about just figuring out who is already there. It's about development. It's about growth. It's about learning. And the way that you develop, learn, and grow is by being able to design, create the person that you want to be, and not need to be or should be or have to be, because those are all words of fear. Who do you want to be? Eliminating any type of restriction and allowing yourself to fully dive in to who that person is. And then you start to create it. Like if you want to be someone who's courageous, right? Let's say we put Frankenstein on a table over here and I said, okay, you want him to learn courage. What would he have to go through to learn courage?
Skydive.
What would he have to go through? What would you put Frankenstein through to learn
Well,
courage?
you'd have to put him through some super intense traumatic situations where he'd have to like step up or step out of the way.
Okay, so why are we different?
Yeah.
We stack that brick and we say, okay, I want to learn courage or strength, right? Strength comes from being broken down, building back up. I want to learn strength. Go run. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go face my past traumas. I'm going to go to the things that scare me and come back stronger. Let's say I want to be brave, right? I'm going to go find moments where I can step up and be that person. And I'm going to design them, create them, and put myself in them. And the more you go to that place, little by little, you get to be whoever you want. If athletic wasn't something that I wanted to be, then I would have been shot. I love working out. I love exercise. So am I supposed to go find who I'm not supposed to be because I don't feel like that's just who I am?
Yeah.
No, I go show up enough times to where I have that opportunity. At one point in time, Copper Johns didn't exist. Mm-hmm. You took something that didn't exist, set a vision, designed and built, and brick by brick, you built it. So when it comes to identity, it's not something found, it's something built.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, dude, you're taking me back to like two of our more recent sessions, where we talked about two things that stuck really hard for me. Which one was full decisions, like no more half decisions, like full decisions, fully commit, and that full decision meant like not just deciding to go for the run. I know I keep going back to the running, but like running is this massive accomplishment for me in my life right now. Because I always used to tell myself I'm not a runner. Like I literally had a sticker on my car at one point that was mocking the like 26.2 or 26 point whatever it is. It said 0.0, I don't run. Like I literally had that on my car at one point. Now I'm doing what I'm doing. But like the full decision was like, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever, it's doing all the prep work and giving myself and that thing the love to where like, okay, I want to heal this part of myself, going full decision in of like, what is everything I can possibly do to give this the best fighting chance? So it's like breaking it down, simple math of like, hey, I know I need to start hydrating the day before a big run. I need to make sure that what I'm eating is not something that's going to upset my stomach. I need to make sure that I'm doing a solid like 15-minute pre-stretch, pre-warm up, all the way down to where I'm learning, I'm warming up my joints now, like so that I'm trying to figure out all the different things that make my brain want to quit while I'm doing this hard thing. And so it's like full decision, like, and it's like, that's creating me into this guy that now identifies as like, I'm a runner. And it's like, and then kind of going back to the other one was like designing. Like I'm a big creative guy. Tyson, you're a massive creative guy too with everything you've got going on with Copper Johns. But the whole, like you said, kind of like this, like this, divine creator mentality. Like we have the ability to create so many different things. You have the ability to create different connections and emotions and physical things and other things that I have used that to kind of create some of the systems and processes that are saving my life in this super difficult but super, super exciting time. And I wouldn't be able to do some of that without like your help and without like the support and the guidance from a bunch of other guys that we're involved with. And that's where I kind of keep going back to what you're saying is that I'm realizing that like self-love, you said, is not this little frilly thing. It's like loving myself enough to take care of myself and make these full decisions and be creative and design my life, because then ultimately my wife and my children are going to benefit from that as well. And then I'm going to find that guy deep inside me that's been there the whole time, but then like merge him with this newer, higher form of myself that like I always used to tell myself like, oh, I'm just always going to be a big guy, or I'm always going to be this guy. And so it's like, it's kind of cool that we kind of get to be these little like poster children of like mid 30s, mid 40s by that point, most guys are pretty much set in their ways versus I feel like
We've had so much growth in the
we've
past
had
couple
so
of
much
years.
crap change in the last year. So it's
I'm
like,
proud of what we've accomplished.
well, and that's, it's, so
You
it's,
should be.
I'm not talking necessarily about dad bods or Copper Johns. I'm just talking about us personally. Like we've just become better people.
well, and I think there's a
More
million,
empathetic, more kind, more loving.
well, and there's a
more
million, like I
understanding.
was saying, there's a million and one product or like programs out there that is just fitness or just this or just that. The fact that like Neuromastery is basically the 4 pillars, right? That it's like not just, I want to lose weight. Like one of my posts, one of my first ever running posts was like, this isn't just about the weight loss. This is about me getting out and doing something for myself that is ultimately like changing my whole brain chemistry of how I view myself. And it's not so much like, oh, I've got 3 miles left. It's like, I've already done 7.
Can I tell you
And,
one
like,
thing
you're-
that's amazing? That I'm dead serious. This sounds stupid, and I'm not doing this as a joke, but it sounds like a joke. I would not get undressed in front of my wife. Right?
Yeah.
I was embarrassed. I would get in the shower. I would lock the door. I mean, it would not happen.
Yeah.
And a couple of days ago, it was a Sunday, middle of the day. I'm like, I'm gonna get in the shower, and I got on the scale, butt naked, and I'm like, Candace, get in here! And because I was excited what the scale said,
like,
and
look.
I'm butt naked, and I'm just all proud. I'm like, hey, Candace, look how much weight. And it's a big deal because last year wouldn't even remotely do that in front of her, and it's kind of cool the strength you've been able to show that we have. And it's been like everywhere we go, I think you know this, we tout Brock and we tout Cam, we tout Neuromastery. It's been such a blessing in our lives. And so we're grateful for you and being here. I think we need him here once a quarter at least.
I was going to say we need, because it's not just stopping at the marathon.
If you would be
like-
willing.
Yeah, I'm willing. And I think that's the most beautiful part is I think what you guys are seeing is one thing that is easy to get caught up in when you're looking at worth or enough or measuring sticks or everything we've been talking about today is it's like little me, 8 billion in the world, and I'm supposed to solve the world's problems. How am I supposed to be that person? It's very daunting and can make you feel like you're not enough, like you can't do it. But what I believe is in the quote, as above, so below. There's a world inside of a world inside of a world. And when we look at our body as the world, and once we solve the worlds in here, naturally they solve out there. And that's what you're seeing, is as you're starting to find alignment within yourself, naturally the problems of the world align themselves with you.
Yeah.
And so they start to work for you rather than against you. There doesn't have to be so much resistance in your life. We create resistance when we try to run on a treadmill at 1,000,000 miles an hour trying to change the external world. That's a daunting task. But when it just all comes from the inside out, naturally that world falls into place. You attract what's meant for you. You attract the people that want to be around you. You start to find yourself in places that you do love and you do enjoy, and you get to have those opportunities. You can see it as your careers evolve to pivoted and taking their paths. It's amazing to watch.
Well, and I'm glad you said that because I actually want to end on this note because I'm a big believer, and you and I have talked about this, in like the law of attraction. And sometimes when you say that or you say the word manifesting, people get all super like, oh, okay. But I feel like
I was way like that.
But I feel like that was a very beautiful explanation of almost like scientifically like how that works. And like for me, had I not had the relationship with you and Neuromastery when I went through, I've mentioned it on here once or twice, but I don't think I've full on, and I'm not going to share the whole story out of privacy, but I lost my job in January, not by any means of my own, but just the way that the company went, pretty much the whole company lost their jobs. And I was second in command, and the way it worked. But before that, 6 months before that, 7 months, 8 months, whatever, I was like, Brock, I want to quit my job. Like, Brock, I want to get to a point where I don't need to rely on this income so I can do content and I can do the podcast. I can do all this stuff full time. This is my dream. This is my passion. And you were working with me with that. And you were like, hey, let's set some goals. And that's literally where the marathon came from, right? You know this, just for everybody else. It was like, hey, the plan was June 7th, we're going to run a marathon, but the day before June 6th was going to be my last day working at that company. That was the plan. And that was October. Well, I started literally trying to make these full decisions of like, hey, I need to lay the groundwork. And when that day comes, I'm ready to do that. And it's not a surprise. Well, the way is I'm literally like trying to lead my life in a way that is the way I was going. God, universe, creator, source, whoever you want to call it, sped up the timeline because that was like, I was attracting that into my life. and it was, this happened. I'm not saying that like caused that to happen, but I was more prepared when that time came, even though it was 6 months earlier than I was expecting it to. Like I had some things in the works that were starting because I was focusing on that 8 months before I was ready for that thing to happen, to where I was 2.5, 3 months ahead of the schedule. And so I had already attracted some things into my life that were like, okay, this is going to keep the lights on for a minute while I figure out the next thing and the next thing. And now here we are. I was telling you about, I had a brand deal call this morning. That's going to be huge. I had
Beard.
Yeah, man-made. No, that's a different one. But that's what I'm saying, of like attracting those things into your life, because I'm trying to just improve my overall life, be honest with myself, look for that authentic guy that I want to be, and calling these other things into my life. It's not this witchy woo-woo thing. It's like you said, the best way I know how to break it down, of like jokingly, like you buy a new car, you see that new car everywhere. If you're approaching things with the best of intention to try to improve your life, you're going to be able to have the perception of more positive things. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I broke down to you. I broke down to Tyson. That was a really difficult time. It's still very difficult, but I have so many other positive things to latch on to, and like these lifelines that I'm grabbing and pulling on. And I have to hand a lot of that to you and Cam and the group, of like teaching me about perspective. And dude, there's some young guys in the group that I've pulled a lot of motivation from and some wisdom from. And so that's the best way I know how to describe the Neuromastery, is just, it's that healthy pack that a lot of people are looking for. And I'm super excited to see how big you guys are getting. Like you're opening up more memberships, like more people are coming in. I was talking to Cam about getting a link to get you guys some more guys in the group, but these shows always go by way too freaking fast. But
well, what if last thing, whatever's on your mind, do you have anything to tell anyone, like last tidbit of advice or anything like that? That's what usually Logan says.
Yeah. Well, you guys shared something that is near and dear to my heart before we started. And you said you guys get reached out to multiple times a day from people struggling. Mm-hmm. And I want you to know this quote: "This too shall pass. What you're feeling right now is not what you will feel forever." And that it doesn't have to be that way. There are options. There are other modalities to be able to help you, to grow you. And that's not just circumstantial. It's not just you. It's not just your life. And then there are paths that can help you find your place in this world. It's not just luck, and it's not just some people are more blessed than you, and it's not that you're alone. There are people that care. There are ways for you to find where you fit in this world. And we're here for you for that.
That's beautiful, dude. I love that. So, you guys, if you follow us on Instagram, you've seen us doing a bunch of different stuff with Brock and Neuromastery and the guys there. We'll link your stuff, obviously, as always, but you're Brock Painter Official on Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. And then Neuromastery on Instagram, and the new Neuromastery YouTube page is up and starting to crank. You got some awesome videos coming out there, so go check out Neuromastery on YouTube.
Done really well.
Yeah, Brock's wife is an amazing videographer, and she's done some stuff for Copper Johns.
She has. She's working on a few things right now.
Yeah.
Then on the 11th, she's filming me and you.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. We got to get some stuff ready. But check out Brock, check out Neuromastery, and then help keep us accountable, guys. We're doing the thing. So, and as Brock says,
apparently you got a few things now.
So June 7th, half marathon. End of June, Moab, we're going to go skydiving. October, running a marathon in St. George, and then December we're doing high rock.
And then January, cardiac arrest.
No, so you know what we should do? And then January we do a physique contest.
Yeah, no.
And we get on stage in our little booty shorts and we're like wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Yeah. On that note, we will catch you guys next week.